Hey guys, so we're gonna do some pre-recorded games. Um, there was well, I mean, we might do a live recorded game after these two, but we might just do these first two pre-recorded games. They went pretty well, and I think this first one shows a pretty good example of what you can do versus English, and kind of what is the meta play in terms of like the English build. And yeah, I mean, we've actually been on like a massive losing streak. We've gotten like excuse me. We've gotten like 10, 11 losses in a row. I don't know, maybe even 12. And yeah, we've just been losing left and right. Part of it, I think, is because I've been at work and work things and just getting tired with the hands and just maybe a different state of mind. I don't know. But either way, we've been playing really badly. Like even games that are in very strong winning positions, 15, 20 villagers ahead at like 15, 20 minutes, and we still managed to throw the game. So these couple of games are a little bit nicer, a little bit more correct in terms of how it should be played. Um, and our opponents also do a pretty good job with their builds and things like that. So anywho, we'll dive into this one. This is against, I'm not sure who this is, on, I believe this map is Rocky River. And yeah, he's playing English. So we get a decent spawn here. We got back wood. We've got gold right next to us, and our uvu separated. Not a huge deal. We don't get a great hollow sheep at the beginning, but you do get a couple extra starting sheep initially. So kind of happy with that. And he's got a pretty good hollow sheep here. He's going to grab a lot more. So I think he gets off with a little bit more sheep than we do. And he's going for a fast age up here. He's got 3 on gold. I'm kind of surprised. So he pre-built this wood wall for, must be like tower rushes is what he did this for, I would guess. And he's probably so heavy on wood or on gold and stuff because he was expecting a tower rush, perhaps. So not sure. Either way, you can see he's remacroing now. Interesting splits he's doing. Did he lose that gold? Oh no, he dropped that gold off. Okay, pulled these villagers off to Abbey. 6 villagers on food still. I'm expecting him to pull these villagers. Okay, he does. He pulls 5 to stone, it looks like. Well, you can see his age up starts up really quickly. We're a little bit further behind. You know, you're always going to be a little bit behind as Mongols. You got to replace your TC. You're basically a villager behind. We're 2 villagers behind. We took a little bit longer to set up our TC, so that, you know, set us back a little bit. So we're a little bit delayed on our build order here, which isn't ideal. And so he's going Abbey of Kings. We're kind of expecting him to go Abbey of Kings here. Let's just see our vision here. This is why we haven't scouted him. We just went for the sheep on our side of the map, even though he had stolen our side's sheep over here anyways. Where's the scout over here? So he gets a really good shot, hollow sheep, because he stole some of our sheep and then he did his side. So he definitely got a favorable sheep haul here than over us. But now we're scouting. We just wanted to confirm that this is the build, and we do confirm it's an Abbey of Kings, which means King harass, and we see the front stone. But even if we didn't see the front stone, meta is Abbey of Memes, Abbey of Kings into 2 TC. And it's not really so much an Abbey of Memes anymore because the King is actually pretty decent, has good tempo. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had a phone call. So, as I was saying, he's aging up with Abbey of Kings. We're aging up, and we're looking to open with a stable. So we're a little bit late with our stable too on our build time here, but pretty decent. And we should be, ideally with a perfect build, we're aging up now. Stable is done now. You can see we're a little bit late here, so, but not terribly late. We're still before the 4.5 minute mark, which is workable. So immediately have our double Keshiks in queue, moving our silver tree, 2 of those villagers onto gold, 2 villagers onto wood, leading us to the 7-5-5 split, and rallying until we get 11 on food. His king has spawned, and he's working across, and all he needs is his wood now to get his TC done. And once again, another phone call. Sorry again, guys. I just got to pause real quick. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Final pause, hopefully. So he's coming across with his king. We got our Keshiks in queue. Timer-wise, we're about to pop out. So with this build, you basically can deny his king. We are able to garrison in time to snipe this, which is nice. And we do run into his king here. We notice a little bit late, which would have been nice to get a charge off here. But at the end of the day, he reacted, we didn't, so kind of thwarted his aggro. And we're heading across to deny a TC. So it's kind of important to deny a TC as soon as possible too. Silver tree setting up. Our scout comes out, picks up these 3 extra sheep, which is nice. You know, we were starting to run out of sheep, so definitely extra sheep is appreciated. His king is coming back. His TC's tapping up, and we can't really do much here. We kind of knew it was going to be on gold. It's kind of the standard play because everyone wants to do this and then fast castle. So we wanted to go, and we're a little bit later on reactions. We have a lot of idle time here. We're into his king here, and yeah, we're not able to do much here. We're taking a lot of damage here with our Keshik, which we didn't have to, which put us kind of in an awkward spot because now we want to kind of like micro this fight. So he's fighting our one Keshik while the other Keshik is running, and so we're able to get some decent damage there. But again, our other Keshik is still really weak, so we're able to get a couple of hits there. Again, it's nice that that second Keshik is able to get some damage in. So we see that he's gotten the TC, which we know, and he's got his gold here. So we drop a second stable. We really have to be able to get a lot of pressure on him and dive his landmark if necessary. And so that's why we double down on our secondary stable to make sure we can commit to this. And then behind this, we're also pulling a villager to build a tower on this gold. And so I think this is a pretty good idea if you're fighting this build, because they're just going to kind of turtle, and you're not going to be able to do much in terms of diving here, but you have to drop a tower basically to prevent like him to get away with too much in with his play in castle. If he gets the castle, he doesn't get like to crank out too many units. So big thing is here, I only put 1 vill. I think it's better to pull like even 4 villagers. 1 villager building this tower takes a minute. 4 villagers take, I believe, 30 seconds or 15 seconds, something like that. So it's definitely worth it to go with the villager. We put our Keshiks over and have him stand ground over the villager, so he can't snipe our vills here. And we reacted a little bit funky here, and can't bait out his villagers, but we're just slowing down his gold income a little bit. And we're still trying to tap up this outpost. But again, if we had like 4 villagers or 3 villagers, I think we finished this, and we'd be in a much better spot earlier on. Behind this, we are starting to trade. Only got 3 traders up, but they are bringing in 74 gold, which is great. And again, we're just trying that thing of setting our troops over our villager to prevent him from being able to click our villager. And we're just letting our Keshiks stand here and kind of fight. And then unfortunately we pull our Vill out instead of just leaving it there, and that causes us to like lose that Vill. We should have just left it and left our cab there. So a little bit unfortunate misplay by us, but not the end of the world. We do commit a couple of units here to chase, and we decided it's not worth it. It's probably better to kind of just hold this ground here, excuse me, and set up for another tower. So we pull 5 villagers. Again, overreaction perhaps, maybe not, but the big thing is this is what should have happened earlier. We wouldn't have lost. If we had lost a vill, we would have at least gotten the tower up already. His white tower would have been denied a little bit better. So again, a little small detail, but these things definitely add up. His king is on a trade line. We are trading decently. We're already up to 4 or 5, so losing traders will definitely impact our boom here. And you know, we see that he's attacking us, and we're not going to be able to trade continue making traders with his king here. He goes with the white tower here. Honestly, I think it's not a bad move. It's pretty much shields this whole thing over here. But I think he should have secured his wood line maybe, or placed it a little bit more forward to secure the stone here. I think in the long run probably would have served really, really good just to dropping it here, just at the edge here, and have his villagers build here safely from under TC. But he doesn't, so our tower's coming up. He can't deny this. He's got 200 gold now at this point, right? So he's not in a bad spot in terms of gold. We built a couple more Keshiks. We lost some traders, right? We lost 2 traders, or 1 trader. I guess his king must have ran off somewhere, but we got Keshiks on this king here. A little bit of a misplay by us here because we could have pinched his king here a lot cleaner, and we definitely didn't. We could have encircled that with a charge sooner. Either way, we leave a couple of horsemen inside of here, leave our Keshiks out and 1 horseman, and getting our arrow slits through, and we basically effectively denied him gold, and he's getting a couple of knights out, right? He's producing 2 knights. To spend his 100 gold. Honestly, I thought he was going to crank out men-at-arms. I thought it was going to be like 10 men-at-arms, and I think it might be better, but I mean, it's tough to say, right? Because he actually has to upgrade them, and he has to fight my Keshik. So perhaps in the long run, knights are better. We expect a movement out to the secondary gold. So we built this tower. We're getting an outpost going. If we look at our vision here, we have pretty good vision of the map. We're rallying troops here. Yeah, here's my stables. I can hotkey them still. And we're rallying here, and we're trying to find any gold. We left a scout and 2 Keshiks here, and we had our con meet up with the rest of these guys. And our villager corps that's dropping these towers is going to continue dropping towers. I want to catch out any villager movements. We do see spearmen are being made, which is an issue for us. So behind this, we're going to have to transition into a range here shortly. We haven't yet, but it's definitely something we need to start doing. We're still rallying to wood. We do a pretty good job here. We clean up this mass here, and now he's in a really weird spot, right? He lost all of his gold. He's in castle, but he can't do anything with this castle. He can't get any eco-techs. He has no eco-techs. So he's done this naked castle with no real benefits. If it was a king's palace, he would at least have a 2nd TC up, or a 3rd TC, I guess. Maybe you can say the white tower is worth it. I don't know. It's tough to say, right? Without any gold, you can't do much. And spending all of his gold has left him stuck with hardened spearmen instead of castle age spearmen. I mean, hardened spearmen still do pretty good against Keshiks and stuff, but they definitely do. They're not trading as effectively as they could be. We take this fight head up, really bad fight, and we don't micro it at all. Maybe with a little bit of micro, we take this fight a little bit better. But again, these are feudal age spears. We're just going to force this outpost up. We were going to try to, but he pulls villagers, so we have to commit with our horse again. Behind this, okay, we are finally building our ranges now. A little bit late, but better late than never. And we got 9 traders up. So we kind of cleaned up this army here, and we pulled the villagers once his spearman count gets a little bit low, and it looked like he wasn't microing. And he realizes, but we're able to finish with 1 villager, garrison, arrow slits, and now he's a really rough spot now, right? Because he's got no wood lines basically accessible except for this one, and all I gotta do is have my con drop on an arrow, and I'll be able to do something about that. He still has this 1 knight alive, just barely getting some damage, and we're just gonna rally a couple Keshiks over here. And then we'll probably re-rally here shortly to another position. And we see all of this food transition, you know, and we're paying attention on the mini-map. But the big thing is we know that he is here, right? If we switch over to his side, he's got basically his base you can see, and you can see the towers around his base. So that's a little bit ominous for him. We clean up his last knight here, and we are rallying forward, and we are also cranking out with our Mangadai. And now we're kind of looking for a possible transition here. We see he's got a big garrison of spearmen here and villagers. So this is a push out to secure wood more than anything. He's able to snipe our villager here. We don't react to this properly. Unfortunately, we are able to save these cav units, cancel that tower, and we're just gonna fall back here. And we decided to just drop a bunch of ranges and just commit to a longer feudal. If we don't commit to army here and we try to tech up, I was really worried that he's going to get back onto gold. If he gets back onto gold, we'll be in a really rough spot. Our army can't really fight his spearmen until we get a lot more Mangandai. So that's what we commit to. We're going up to 5 ranges, just producing from 2 of them. Would be nice to get another Uwu here. Secondary army of Cav is over here. We're rallying. And yeah, at this point, he could have been moving out to gold here. But he does drop a tower. He wants us to kind of crawl his way back out of here. But I do think this was his window of opportunity to send villagers with the spearmen out to drop towers on his gold here. Or this gold here. So he decides to commit to the gold to the south. It is the easiest for him, right? So he burns down the outpost. I think he's able to kill both of these horsemen. I'm pretty sure we don't micro them. And again, we see this happening, right? So we're going to rally all of our Mangandai. We're up to a decent number now. We're up to 7. And we've got a bunch in queue out of 4 ranges, 5 ranges, and we're going up to 7 ranges. So we're just doing a full tech switch to Mangandai here. And this is really just to make sure that we get enough mass to deal with his spearmen, because he's committing to spears, right? And he had seen, and now we know he's got his gold kind of secured here. And now this is where things are going to get a little bit interesting again, right? He's resecured his gold. We've been able to deny it for a long time. He probably would have been better off than freeing up this gold sooner. Excuse me. And he decides to build a forward tower here to make sure I don't tower drop him again. Which, I mean, I can respect. But he's got... I mean, I can't fight this. I could just harass it, perhaps, but behind this, we're booming still trade, and yeah, he's got a lot of villagers on gold, so he's gonna start getting gold and getting eco techs and military techs. So he's gonna get back into this game. You can see military count is slightly in our favor, but he's been on 2TC for a while now, so and overall 2TC is in a better spot than trade because you can get a more even spread of resources. As you can see, food is a lot for him right now. So yeah, we got around 20 minutes. We got to be careful that, because basically his 2TC eco is catching up or doing kind of the same usefulness as just a straight trade gold boom, just because we'll have too much gold. So behind this, we were looking to tech up. We kind of knew we couldn't, if we try to commit resources to burn this tower and deny this, or try to drop another tower here, it's going to be really difficult to do so. So we just built a big army. He's cranking out knights. He isn't getting eco techs, which I think is a really big mistake for him, especially like being behind on gold. I think the first thing he should have gotten was a mining tech here. Immediately, I think you just 100% you get specialized pick and you start getting eco techs. But to each his own. He starts raiding our back here with horsemen. Again, a little bit of a bother here for us. We are trying to save up resources. We are able to push him back, and we catch him trying to drop a wall here at the front of his base. Army-wise, we have a little bit bigger of an army, but it's actually a much more expensive army because it's all cav. So a much bigger health pool, and that's why the army value is a lot further up. We are able to send a couple of Keshiks here to deal with his horsemen, which is nice, and we are getting our Mangandai techs and our balanced projectile techs. We really have to make sure our investment into Mangandai, which is our biggest investment right now, needs to pull its weight, right? We are leaving 3 horsemen over here on this gold, and we put a couple more villages. We're gonna build a tower over here, but he built this tower here, so we built a tower on this gold instead, and we're gonna build a siege workshop. So one big thing that I always mention going against England, that's really important, is to get your mangonels out as soon as possible. Not only for specifically this build that I do, but in general against England, it's really important to get your mangonels out. They do a lot of. It's really, I mean, they do a lot against the English longbow mass. And it's really important to deal with it, and then specifically for our build order here in our playstyle, there's the best way to deal with the spear blobs and the infantry blobs is always going to be mangoes, 6 to 8 mangoes. So he does a good job here of picking off villagers here and there. You can see our villager kill counts are really similar. And he's actually pulling ahead in villager numbers now. He's at 77 eco to our 60. And yeah, his gold is online in a good spot. He could possibly look to imp here. I don't know if it's a good move or not. It might be a good move to go imp and like drop. If you could drop it like here, I mean, it'd be the dream, right? You could almost secure 2 golds, but it's really risky. He doesn't really have an army to do it, so yeah, he's got to just invest in stuff. He's finally starting to get eco-techs, but I mean, he's missing a lot of eco-techs. Keshik is unfortunately trading for a horseman here. A little bit bad here. But we are starting to tower up our line here. If you look at our... We do try to dive here a little bit. We don't find much. And we do have our first mangonel out though. And we're getting our military upgrades. We have our balanced projectiles. We're going to get our military production now. So you can see in terms of vision, he's just got small raiding parties here and there that he's sneaking out. And he's still very centralized, but he doesn't have a lot of military production. He does have a market. Something that he could have been using earlier, probably. Excuse me. Just he has a lot of food. It's probably not good to be floating this much food. It's probably worth trading off some of it for techs. So over here we're able to clean up this lone knight, and we're just rallying over here to our trade line. We do want to secure and start scaling our trade in a more significant manner. We do spot him coming out here onto the secondary gold, which indicates to us that he got that first gold node is all done. We knew this was just kind of a matter of time. And so basically he's got a bunch of knights here. It says 18, so probably something around there. And what we do is we just commit to this push here, because your Mangudai will actually I guess aggro or focus on villagers over the knights, even though technically it makes more sense to kill the guys that are killing you. Like you shoot the guy that's got the big sword and trying to kill you versus the harmless villager. We are barely able to save this mango, I believe. A little bit of a misplay by us here. It cost us a lot more mango than we needed to. We didn't have to bring that mango over here. We were trying to get a villager pick, which wasn't the best, and we lose this other mango over here. So really sloppy by us here, but the big thing is we killed like 13 villagers or so that really helped to kind of equalize our trade, or our ecos here, and our trade is still going. Military infrastructure, we're still at the same. A bunch of archer drains. We do drop a second Uvu, and we do get a Gur, so we can start getting improved ecotechs. And now our army here. There's only a couple units that can burn. We got 3 Keshiks and 1 horseman. So they're pretty slow, but the Mangudai do, I mean, there's just enough of them to do decent damage here. And the big thing is just to catch the vills that try to run, right? So he's lost a lot of vills. Now we have got an equal villager count when he had a pretty significant lead earlier, because he's trying to get out of them to the next gold. We still have these units over here. So we had a tower here, and we're dropping another tower here, so we know when he rotates out for another gold, right? So now he's kind of in the same spot that he was previously, where he's got decent eco and he's kind of set up, but he doesn't have any gold. We do see his units streaming across here, his knights, and you can see he's fairly proactive about raiding. When we do see these knights heading over, I believe we drop a bunch of towers in our base, and I think we grab these units here. But perhaps we don't. Okay, we start rallying to our trade line with the stables. That's another thing too. We're only on 2 stables, which is a little bit of a mistake here because we do need some stables. And we rush up a few towers here just because if he dives us at our TC, he could have definitely done a lot of damage there. And so once again, we come to this point in the game where we got vision on his gold. If we look at our vision here, we got vision on these knights over here. We're just rallying troops. I want to say I started rallying Mangudai over, but perhaps not. We are able to rally this villager here that was building this other outpost in time. Outpost does come out with its spring order emplacement, and sooner we can dive in here the better, right? Knights get pulled off by the trader, and the trader helps our units aggro. So we're a little bit lucky there because if that doesn't happen, we lose this tower, and this tower gets a bunch of shots in. So, I mean, basically surviving, it's gotten like 4 shots in, which is a pretty big deal. So he pulls out. He's going to try to survive here. We got 2 Mongols in the front. He's building his first springald, and his trebuchet should really actually be shooting here. It shouldn't just be idle. Gonna repair this and heal up. We're gonna keep. We stopped rallying troops to the front. We're gonna rally them down below. Do lose a couple units over here, and he does start shooting our mango, and it survives. I think mostly because of the curl type buff, just gives it just enough health to survive, which is something that not everyone knows. But yeah, you can survive 2 shots if they're not immediate, if they're from 1, if you pack up and leave in time. This trebuchet is really expensive. That's a lot of gold that he loses for basically nothing. And we're going to start building stables up front here to really start choking the front line here. Behind this, we put a bunch of villagers over to another wood line. In general, you can see we're mostly on... Well, I guess these villagers that were on food, we're going to pull them onto wood. I guess we wanted more infrastructure for siege and just for towers and stuff. We felt like our wood was hurting, so we put a whole bunch of those to that. And our food production is a little bit low now, but we have a really big army, so I think that's kind of what we felt we felt like we're in a good spot to do that. Over here, he tried to build another gold mine. He put some units and they just get aggroed and killed by these Keshiks. Again, leaving a couple units here and there, just as kind of like a scouting system is always a good idea, because you can know when your opponent is moving out on the map to do something else. We do start dropping towers at the end of our trade line here, and again, a bunch of units here. We're talking like 15 units against his 5 knights, so, and they're slowly getting chewed up by the Mangudai, and then yeah, when the cav catches them, they get cleaned up pretty easy. Okay, so clean that up, no problem. And now we can kind of just focus on the front here. This wall we should probably burn down. It kind of blocks any forward progress for us. And he's just kind of massing an army, which he kind of has to do. But it's pretty much all longbows. I mean, we're heavy on the Mangudai, so he kind of has to, right? But he definitely needs spearmen mixed in. And the big thing he really needs is springald, right? One thing he could have been trying to do is to pick this relic. We do spot this this tower coming up over here to the south with the gold. So you see we've already dropped the second tower here, and we're getting our springald emplacements so we can start shooting the gold here. He pulls a bunch of villagers to the south here. I might have missed this. We do dive here on the back here. This is the units that cleaned up the trade harass. We're trying to get on his wood line, and he's getting out on this other gold over here. So I can't remember if he reacted to this or not. He's dropping a tower. But this, I mean, this is kind of what he needed. He needed to be able to escape and get out. You know, we were denying this. We were definitely an oversight not leaving a couple units here. It's definitely something you want to do. Even here, it's probably worth. You just don't want them to sneak out the back where you don't have the best vision, right? I mean, just a couple of tiles of vision we don't have, but that's just enough for him to sneak out, as we saw. Over here, we're just kind of burning down infrastructure. He's just letting us. I'm not entirely sure why. Well, I guess in part, if he moves out, we can just dive him, but he definitely should pull like just some units, because you don't want to lose infrastructure, right? These are all expensive, right? We start pushing. We got Springolds. He's getting his first Springwood out now. And we got Mangoes. We're just doing a slow siege with Mangonels. If I commit the traps, yeah, we can get more damage perhaps and do it a little bit quicker in some regards, or Rams. But the Mangoes are just multifunctional. They have to take care of army as well. So that's the big advantage. The bad thing is that your White Tower has 8 tile range and your Mango has 9 tower range, so it just barely outranges it. So you're really close to that, which makes it kind of tough to micro around. Over here, our army's just kind of harassing, getting damage where it can. This was supposed to be a little bit closer to here to kind of just keep aggroing. Villagers are on gold, and we're just kind of harassing. The thing is, we're under White Tower, so we're taking a lot of damage. And we do spot his Springolds here, so we are going to react. He doesn't get the snipe on our Mango there. He misses his click there. He might have shot the Springold there. Either way, we're able to dive with the second army and clean up all of his Springolds with the help of their springs there. We do send our Mangoes forward to shoot the longbows. We really should just A-move at this point, though. If these villagers pulled, they probably could have hit us, so he's just reacting here, but yeah, he's gonna have to tap out. It's just too big of an army. We're just kind of committing to a dive at this point. And yeah, so that one went fairly well. But you can kind of see with the opening of stables, rushing your fast stage 2, and using that first double produced Keshik, you have the choice of whether to defend yourself if necessary against the king and completely basically deny any advantage he has with the king, or you can just go harass that second TC. If it's a greedy second TC, you're gonna be able to deny it. If it's not a greedy second TC, you'll be able to have some presence and kind of dictate the flow. You should be able to tower drop behind it, which is kind of the idea here that you kind of want to do, right? You want to definitely slow down his gold production more than anything. That was kind of the big takeaway from that game, is really gold starving him. Even though he was teched up, he was still in a really uncomfortable position. So this next game is John Dry Arabia. We're playing against FF 200, 20,022,020. So he also picked Mongols, which is cool. And then he actually plays a very similar style to us, which was fun to kind of match up against. And it was actually a cool way to show that trade is really strong and it's really good, but it can be a bait, it can be a throw if your opponent is kind of doing a super raid heavy build. So it's better to play a more consolidated eco. We scout across the middle here. We spot a couple sheep, and then we head back to our base. He scouts across the middle, and it looks like he's going to head back. Spawn-wise, he's got I'd say a worse spawn. Like this wood is super safe and his TC is really safe. Ooh is really safe, but I think this is a better placement. You really want to protect your gold primordially. But I mean, if you're expecting tower rush, even if you're expecting tower rush, it's probably still better this way, right? We got excuse me, a really good spawn too. Forward wood line helps protect us. Pretty close wood lines in general. I feel like our wood lines are closer than his wood lines are. Maybe if he plays here, this wood line's closer. And then we have basically a safe gold. And honestly, if we had placed our TC here, I might not have been against that either. We could have protected both resources, but a wood would have been exposed. So it's kind of up in the air. But then, big thing for me is my gold, so I keep my gold safe, and I'm happy with that. He only gets 3 sheep on his run. I do get 6 sheep. The big thing was getting those middle sheep was really nice. Those are sheep that are not technically on my side, but he's gonna get a whole bunch of sheep over here on his side. He's got 4 there. Yeah, so he's gonna be just fine with sheep. Possibly a 5th one here. And on our side, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, right around there. So We can already see there's some differences in build order here. We're going for a straight rush to our age 2. And he's committed a couple villagers on wood so he can get a tower early. This is again expecting that tower rush. He does want to be able to react to this. Again, there's variations of our build where we do this as well. When you've got this like extreme gold, so those things definitely affect like your builds as Mongols and Mongol mirrors. Um, Again, yeah, I think part of this is TC placement. I think you place your TC here always. It's just better than on your Uvu. And you can, protect your Uvu later or drop a tower on your Uvu. I don't know, it's tough to say, it really is. That being said, we're already tapping up. We're going up with Silver Tree, and our opponent's still got a ways to go. If he wants to match us, he might be able to, but he's going to have to pull a lot more villagers. So he's coming to scout us now. If you look at our vision, we're going to be scouting him shortly. And yeah, he has a good idea of what we're doing here, right? So he sees that we're already tapping up with Silver Tree. He's going to be expecting trade. And we're over here. We're scouting his base. Carefully around here in the back, you always have to be a little bit careful trying to find a Mongol base. It's never exactly where you think it might be. It's always going to be kind of in a different area. And we spot the Uvu. We see no production around here, which means this is a fast H2. And I was expecting him to be almost done, right? I figured he's almost done here. We're going to just finish scouting over here. And we'll come back and catch his production building when he ages up, because we're about to age up, so we expected him to be doing it. Now, since it's a fast H2 like ours, we're expecting it's got to be a stable or a range, typically if you're not doing any Dark Age aggression. So we're just going to commit to Mangadai. We're just kind of having Mangadai superiority early on can be a really big thing, really important. It's important to follow up with cavalry. You're going to need Keshiks and Horsemen to really cement a win, but having mass Mangadai, and if you have really good control, you can do a lot of stuff early on. So we've aged up. We've got our archery range going. He's not too far behind, even though he was way behind in his build, and that's because he commits 2 extra villagers onto it, so he saves like 20 seconds. Over here, we see he's building. Here, we see he's got a couple villagers on wood. We see he's got the archery range up. We do commit our con. Get some damage in. Even if we don't get a kill, the big thing is we're just annoying him. We do almost lose our con, which is a little bit bad. But we do pick up an extra sheep, which is good. And then we find his gold here, and we see that it's towered, and we notice, oh shit, that's why his age up was delayed, because he dropped his tower, which means we should be on just a slight advantage. Issue being, though, is we don't know what he's aged up with, right? And so we assume, because we see the archery range and we see this tower here, I'm assuming that he's going to go Silver Tree and use his tower to defend here. We've got our Mangadais out already, and this is what I mean by that slight advantage. He's got his con, and his con was chasing my con, and he thought he could kill my con. And all I did was bait him into my second group of Mangadai, and I got my second group of Mangadai here. And if I guess I'll select both of these. Can I select both of these? Okay. I'm controlling 2 different groups, and we're just trying to cut him off and get the cut back on him too. A little bit of a mistake here. We should have cleaned that up a little bit. We could have closed this gap a lot better with our other 2 Mangadai. And it's unfortunate too, because now we're going to lose our maneuver arrow. We have used our maneuver arrow already prematurely, and combining our 2 groups was a bad idea too, because our Mangadai probably could have gotten another shot or 2 in. So this is kind of what I mean by the man with the first Mangadai mass is the man that usually wins. We didn't think that these sheep were gonna convert to us, so we commit to aggroing those couple of sheeps, but we get lucky too, because we just barely survive with a con, but we do killed 2 sheep there, which is, again, it's not end of the world, a little bit unfortunate. He goes head straight across to deny us with Mangadai, which is a good idea because he knows we're going trade. We run into his Mangadai. He's dropping a second archery range, and he's got deer stones, and we're not really privy to this. We just assume he's trading, right? We just assume he's trading, and he's going for trade boom just like we are, right? And we see the Mangadai. You know, the Mangadai over here kills our trader, and that leaves us kind of in a weird spot. Yeah, our trader, I'm pretty sure, was able to trade in, but one trip, I mean, it's technically worth it. I think 60 wood, 36 gold for 70 gold. It's probably worth it, even just one trip. But it's definitely not what you want to be doing. I mean, it's technically a loss in resources, right? In total resource value, it's a loss. Gold is a little bit more valuable, but you definitely don't want to be trading like that, like constantly losing total resources. So what we do is we stop building traders. We built a couple more, but we decided to stop. We confirmed the double ranges because we knew we had one. We weren't sure what he was committing to, and then we spot 4 Mangadai. On the back, we're going to rally our Keshik. You see, we've transitioned to a stable here because Mangadai mass is good, but Mangadai with Keshik and Horsemen is going to be always better. They're just going to be able to hold and give a lot of meat and chase to these. Like, yeah, like right now my Keshik is going to die because of bad micro here. But if you have a mass of Keshik or Horsemen accompanying Mangadai, that's when you're really able to kind of pull ahead. So we're going to bring back our troops. We have equal amount of Mangadai. He's committed a little bit more to food, as you can see, and we're just on wood right now. And so this is kind of where the trade is kind of a bait, right? He's got Mangadai in our back line. He's got 2 ranges. We've got range and stable, so we're not going to be able to outmass his Mangadai mass, right? It's just not going to happen. Where did this Mangadai go? They peel up and they're going to head north. He's got a couple more over here. Just keep tabs on them. A couple of ranges, deer stone, so he's sitting pretty where he's at. But you can see he's definitely focused on ooh, a little bit of a mistake there. He's definitely focused on wood or food production. So what we wanted to do here is we can make Silvertree and try to fight these fights with our Mangadai, and he'll be pushing into us, and we'll have defender's advantage and all of that. But he's a little bit scared to push here. You can see, it's just it's risky, right? It can work, it might not work. It's not ideal trying to run trade versus a Mangadai opponent. So we're just going to go for a 2TC play. We've got Ecotex. You can see we're ahead of him on Ecotex. We've got our Broadaxe. And we're just going to drop a second TC. And so this is kind of a good play in Mongol matchups. You can just immediately rush it, or you can delay it, kind of like this one is, after you get a good bearing of your opponent and kind of what he's doing. If they open with infantry, archers, and spearmen, I'd probably feel more comfortable trade booming because it's more likely I can catch and punish him. Versus the Mangadai, it's going to be a little bit tougher to do so until I get like a fully sprawled YAM network, and I'm always going to, you know, outspeed and catch up, right? So we check his pocket deer. You know, you can see we're not going for pocket deer. It's a risky game to play when there's Mangadai masses out and about. Unless you want to drop, you're dropping a tower, but you kind of have to escort your villagers to do this. He's got a much bigger Mangadai mass now. We definitely can't fight him in that regard. We're able to idle a little bit of food eco. We see that he's running out of berries. We do see he's got pastures. We'll just keep it on our vision here. This is a nice army back here, though. We got, this one trader's been trading happily, so he's been generating value for us. He's made one trip there and back, so he's definitely made his money's worth. Again, not ideal to lose him now, but he's more than made his money at this point. But yeah, he's committed to. We see double ranges and we see blacksmith tech, right? Which means we got our blacksmith tech now already. We got our blacksmith tech, and his blacksmith tech isn't come through yet. So we know he's got double ranges, but we've got a timing window right now where we can possibly fight him. So we are looking to do that, but we are booming behind all of this, right? Dropping towers in our base just in case he dives us. And we find his army, we're like, oh, fuck. He's committed a lot harder. But we do click on his Mangadai and we see that they don't have the tech upgrade yet. So over here we try to get him to split around this wood line, and our one weak Mangadai dies. Unfortunately, we aren't able to trade here. But we do have our Keshiks heading over, so we're trying to delay and like micro this so we can catch him with our Keshiks without losing too much of our Mangadai. But it's a little bit tricky here. And we do decide to drop, because we got 400 wood here. We decided to do a little bit of micro. I probably should have just ran back here. But since I had stopped here and I hadn't shift clicked further down, he's able to catch us, which is pretty important, right? Because he's going to do a lot of damage to us here. Behind this, though, our Keshiks are almost here. But again, would have been ideal to take this fight, like, say, like over here-ish. Because it would have been a long trip home for him. End of the day, though, you can see why the larger Mangadai mass wins here. He lost 1 Mangadai, and we lost 7. So yeah, it's an important detail, especially. I mean, his defense tech came through at the same time. So behind this, he's gone castle, and he thinks like our eco was going to be trade based. He has no idea that we went 2TC, and so right now, as is, sure, he's got a tech advantage, but we got a big eco advantage right now, and neither one of us is traded, right? And he's gonna go check and shut it down. He's expecting me to have trade boomed behind all of this, and at this point, if I had trade boomed, this is where I basically lose the game, because I wouldn't have any way of defending my trade line. I don't have towers up on my trade. I don't have any of these things, right? So, maybe, if this 900 wood was spent as 9 towers along my line, we wither his Mangadai up pretty good. But again, it's a little bit trickier to pull off, and 2TC is just a lot more safe in that regard. So I do like the 2TC play, and you can see our castle timing is not too far behind his. He's getting his techs up, veteran Mangadai. And he's doing a tech switch into military. And he's just kind of looking for what he can see here. He leaves 1 Mangadai here and hurt 1. It's a good idea. Pick off any traders, give him scouting information if we start trading. And he is starting to pick up relics. So this is a good move. It's definitely a good move. It's going to scale really good. But it's also one of those things where, like, if instead of building relics, you had built... If instead of a prayer tent, if you had built like a pasture or another production building, is it worth it? It's tough to say. Definitely 1 prayer tent, I think it's worth it. It does end up going for 2, which I think is a bad idea. She's just checking out different pockets of resources. Okay, yeah, he was just wrapping around, trying to find if I was being greedy on anything. But he's picking up relics now, which is a good move for him. He does find our 1 trader here. He's able to clean that up. Our trader did drop off, though, so that trader made like 4 or 5 trips. So he's made it worth it. And we did produce a couple of traders again, since we didn't see him on our line. The last trader was able to make a trip, so we can commit to a couple more. But behind this, we're just going into a bunch of pastures. And this is kind of where the strength of going 2TC before hitting castle, doing that little eco boom. Because you should always do some sort of eco boom, whether it be trade or 2TC. And we do catch his army out of place here. And you can see, even though he's was teched up before me and everything, we were able to push him back because we had a bunch of Keshiks already and horsemen, and they're gonna catch his Mangadai. So he has to just only fall back and fight, run. So it's having a front line mixed in with your Mangadai is definitely a big deal when you're fighting that kind of style. Again, traders coming in and dropping off. They're getting their money's worth. That one's only going to get, like, technically it's a net loss, but we're going to send more over. And we're starting to do another Uvu, and we've got towers kind of sprawling through, getting our arrow slits because we're more worried about Mangadai more than anything. And we've got a decent army back here, so now basically the discrepancy here is just villager count. He is a D3 player right now, but he was Conk 3 last season. Season before he was Conk 2. It's got to be Conk Elo if we're playing against each other. So, yeah, him not going for some sort of eco boom was definitely some sort of a pretty big mistake. He does spot us here. He reacts nicely. We're setting a girl over on this deer. We've cleaned up our trade, and that means we can transition into a trade boom here. We try to dive here a little bit. We'll switch to our vision so you guys can kind of see. And we see spearmen and crossbows. You know, we've gone Keshik, so you can tell he wants to commit now to an infantry base. And I'm not sure if he saw our 2TC or not yet, but you can tell he's definitely uncomfortable with that style. We have a second mass here. We wanted to come out and catch this. We saw him run through here. We wanted to come through and catch this. A little bit of a bad angle. We should have just queued all the way up to the line here. I don't think we catch it, and that's just again a bad reaction by us because he's stealing basically our relic at that point. So behind this, you know, we're just running around. We're trying to find any pockets of like areas that we can get some damage in. He's dropping a second blacksmith. Again, this is I think is a bad move pre-imp to have a second blacksmith. You've only got 6 techs to get, so I don't think it's ever really worth. I mean, it's nice for the improved stuff, the improved siege engineering or whatever. Is he gonna get it? It's actually a pretty big deal too because yeah, oh yeah, it's on his blacksmith, so he's gonna get it 100%. So we garrison here, and this is where he sees we've committed to 4 markets now. Now we're gonna trade boom, right? We felt pretty confident with our eco lead because he isn't trading. He does get that siege engineering tech, but he doesn't commit to like making mangonels in this fight. So I'm actually kind of surprised by that. But he's getting his +2 wedge rivets now. But you can see because of our better eco tech, we've basically gotten all of our techs up, and our army is again same size but a lot more expensive because it's all cav. It would be nice to get our horsemen online. Our gold is suffering really badly. We've only got 11 villagers mining gold, but our trade is starting to come online now, and will shortly be online. So once that stabilizes, we'll be in a better spot. He's filling way too much food, so he definitely needed a market to equalize this. He does have 4 markets though, or 4 relics, so he's definitely sitting pretty in that regards if this game goes long. And we're obviously looking. I mean, we're sitting in a pretty good spot too, in my opinion. If the game goes long, we've got our trade line established while he doesn't. So his army, we catch out of position here, and that means you just run through their base. Monk tries to Wololo us, not a big deal. The idea is just run through his base. We catch a couple of villagers here and there. Each villager we catch is pretty important, especially since we're on 2TC and he isn't. Game's basically over at this point just because of the eco difference. He gets a lot of idle time there. He does have a couple units sneak in between our towers here. And we do have a bunch of wood villagers here, so we do want to garrison a bunch of villagers here shortly. We do aggro onto his gold. We lose our horsemen. Not end of the world. We have a ton of food at this point, so committing to just losing a bunch of horsemen isn't a big deal really for us. We do drop a couple of towers, so we want to be able to defend this kind of aggro on our trade line basically whenever. And we did pull a couple villagers out onto deer to start gathering. It would be nice to get our improved eco techs as well. Something that we both don't have. He should have specialized pick in my opinion, especially since he has no trade. So definitely a bit of a mistake there. We could definitely afford it too. He does this. We commit to this kind of late. That's a timing thing. If you're really comfortable, just like that's an appropriate timing. Half a second later, it's not. So be careful about doing something like that for sure. But he's going for 5 relics, right? And we had sent a monk out at this point to go pick up that relic, but he got there late. We reposition our Kurultai here. We try to reposition our Kurultai, but he's got a decent army here. But it's crossbow, spears, men at arms, and a con. So yeah, we probably lose this fight if we just A move into it. But with some micro, we definitely win that fight. We do spend some time to burn down this one prayer tent. Um, Garrison our villager over here. Probably should have garrisoned this trader here. A little bit sloppy of us not to. The villagers that we have here, quick build a couple of towers. We saw his army move to the south, so we wanted to rotate here. We're getting the rest of our techs. We're getting our yam. We're getting springold, step riders, and our army that was over there. We just rotated here. Our villagers are gathering deer here. He's not aggroing, so we kind of wait to react, and we separate our cav here onto the crossbows and archers, spearmen with our mangadai, and once the spears get kind of close to our deer here, our deer gatherers, we just garrison our vills here. And yeah, you can see his army gets basically torn apart there. So, and behind this, I believe we were diving his gold at the same time. Yeah, so at the same time we were beating up on his gold. So the big takeaway again is to go. You can see, yeah, is to go to TC. If you can't secure trade and they're going Mangadai, investing into that trade is just going to be a net loss of resources, and you're going to be suffering resource wise. So it's better to just transition into a 2TC. Even if they hit castle before you, they're gonna, as long as you hit your 2TC at decent timing and you haven't overcommitted into production or villager, mostly production, right? Because you don't want to use up all that wood. Once you get that second T sound at an appropriate time and recognize what's happening soon enough. Because honestly, I probably could have reacted sooner and done that move a little bit sooner after seeing that first range. But I expected him to be doing silver tree at the same time. And then once I realized that he had no trade, then I was like, oh, I really need to play more like consolidated. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.